All right, peace family, and welcome back to another edition of the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. On tonight's episode, we talk to Kris Smith, the Black, AKA the Black Techie, on being a text marketing expert for the NFL, amongst other things. Stay tuned for more of tonight's episode after this. All right, family. Again, welcome back to the STEM Files, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I am one of your humble co-hosts, Jabril. Naval Ship Fluid Systems. I have a background in material science and engineering from the University of Pennsylvania, focusing on failure analysis, general materials principles, and how to leverage those materials for different applications, whether it be making something faster, smarter, lighter, etc. And lastly, but certainly not least, the director of engineering for our parent company, Original Man Scientific. And like always, I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, family? Can y'all see me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A little bit of lag. We're gonna work through it though.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hop back in because I'm frozen on mine. So just keep the show going, bro.
Oh, yes, sir. Of course, of course. So, continuing on, like I said, I'm joined by Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. He is our co-host, well, with a background in cardiovascular research, right? He's also our COO of our parent company, Original Man Scientific, as well as its founder. He'll be back with us shortly as we continue. But tonight, family, the show is not about us as it never is. It is about our most illustrious person that we have, our guest, Kris Smith, aka the Black Techie. How are you doing tonight, Queen?
I am amazing, King. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Listen, I gotta say this: the yellow glasses are giving me so much life, so much energy. Like I'm feeling the self-proclaimed nerd, but nerd queen. I kill all the games. I'm loving it, shining just like the sun. So thank you so much. So what we want to do is, again, tonight's all about you, just leveraging what you do, educating ourselves on what you do, and also being able to educate our audience. We want to make sure that we bring it and we bring it hard. So I want to get into a bit of your bio, and then we will go from there.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So we have Kris Smith, MBA, aka the Black Techie, text marketing expert for NFL athletes. Born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, yet currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia, Kris Smith is one of our next business technologists, technology thought leaders, and technology influencers. Over the course of 10 plus years in the industry, she has realized that there are some voids in connecting business, technology, and sports. Utilizing her love of these industries, Kris is leveraging her own lane by becoming a trusted advisor, consultant, and strategist to NFL athletes. Kris is the founder and CEO of Technically Yours LLC, which is a business technology consulting firm that specializes in text marketing. She helps NFL athletes create, connect, and convert their one-to-one relationships with their fans via text messaging. Kris has created a unique framework using text marketing to help her clients achieve their goals. Kris received her BA in psychology from Hampton University and her MBA in Management of Technology from Georgia Institute of Technology. She also received a certificate of global leadership conducting business in China from Beijing University of Post and Telecommunications. Kris is an active and financial member of Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated, the first African American Greek letter business sorority. She is also a public speaker, teacher, tech trainer, and future author. Looking forward to that book. Her superhero powers are that she is a former Apple genius. Once again, Kris Smith, the Black Techie. I think that the superpowers are kind of all the things before that, in addition to that too. But that's just me. That's just me.
A lot of people seem to think that as well. But I appreciate
I'm like, oh, so it's only that she's a former Apple genius. It's not the other stuff too. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure we're clear about that. So thank you again for joining. We're looking forward to having a good time. I want to kick this off with a term that I've seen a bit different influencers using around social media, but really kind of what it means to you. So you talked about being a thought leader in your bio. So can you unpack what that term really means and kind of how it has allowed you and kind of poised you for success in your endeavors as a professional?
Yeah. So, when I think about the term thought leader, when you can look at the dictionary definition, rather, like it seems very mundane and bland. But I think there has been a lot of changes in the way that the internet has coined or thought leaders have appeared. To me, a thought leader is somebody who creates educational, informational, empowering content that allows you to really think outside the box and think differently when it comes to particular industries.
Right.
So for me, I look at myself as a technology thought leader because I challenge myself all the time, especially as a Black woman in tech, to really push the norm and really think outside of the box. I never want to conform to, if you took sociology in school, societal norms, if you know what that means. I always wanted to make sure that the envelope was pushed when it came to technology. So being a thought leader, I look at it, like I said, as somebody that provides valuable content that really makes you think, provides you with a different approach and framework and outlook, depending on your particular niche and industry.
That's deep. I like that, so because it's like, sometimes I feel like, there's an abundance of terms, right?
Absolutely.
We live in a society where there's a lot of terms being thrown around, and I think sometimes we can get very cliche with things, like something as simple as it takes a village, right? That's a very, very, very not only important, but very truthful term, right? It does take a village, but then are we saying it to be, a part of a quote unquote number or to be associated with something that we feel like is bigger than ourselves and kind of moves us forward? Or are we really embodying what that means on a daily basis? And I think just kind of as we talk about that, we'll be able to see kind of how you've done that with the concept of being a thought leader. So I find, what you do very interesting. Yeah. So you think about marketing in general, right? But then you've kind of are in this world of text marketing. What exactly is text marketing and why is it, not only a good thing to maybe utilize as a business, but also maybe even a supremely important thing to utilize as a up and coming business?
Absolutely. So fun fact, when I got into, I've been flirting around with transitioning into pivoting into this space for a while. It was more so really about authenticity. Just being, like I said, a former Apple genius, I'm always on my phone. I don't think anybody who is not a millennial, regardless of where you are on the index and spectrum of the years, or even as a millennial, I've always been on my phone. But for me, text marketing, a lot of people always put it under the digital marketing umbrella. I don't want to be coined in that marketing space. And a lot of people are like, oh, she does it. And I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
It's a technological approach because text marketing is a one-on-one engagement with you and the person that you're connecting with. And what I mean by connection, it's not always a monetary connection. Sometimes it's a educational connection. It is a networking connection. It is a informative connection. It is always something in that regard. And so for me, I look at text marketing not from a digital marketing approach. I look at it from a technology approach. I look at it from the science based on how text marketing and frameworks work. I look at it from the automation, the engineering part of it. I also look at the technology because you got to understand the platforms and the strategy. Like, how are you going to use it in the first place, depending on what type of business model you have, products, services, et cetera. But to me, I define text marketing as a one-to-one conversation, a one-to-one engagement with you and the person that you're connecting with. And like I said, there's different forms of connections, but I think we try to do what we see other people do, or we copy what other people say. Yes, this should be a digital marketing. And I'm like, have you really studied what text marketing is? Because it still is a technical transaction. You still have to use technology to send a text message. You still have to use technology to actually type a text message. And you still have to use technology to make sure somebody responds to said text message. So I look at it from a totally different perspective than a digital marketer or somebody in the marketing space would look like. And I think we have to get to a point where we look at how we approach technology and how we approach the STEM and the STEAM industry, and not think that everything is always attached to marketing and things of that nature. Like I tell people, like, I'm not a digital marketer. I use marketing to market my business. There's an extreme difference, but that's kind of how I would define technology and text marketing in that perspective.
Yeah, you said something very key just now, and this is something that Jabril and I were talking about before the show. Literally. About being coined, yeah, about being coined in a certain market or being mistaken for this specialty or area when it's supposed to be something else. So let's talk about the importance of being a recognizable brand to the point where, okay, the moment I think about something, I'm going to think about this person. For example, some of my friends and colleagues, the moment they think about the heart, the moment they a picture of the heart comes up, or they think about the heart in some way, they think about me, you know, or science in general. And I'm sure it's the same for Jabril. Talk about being associated with a certain brand and not being pushed into one area because you're good at something.
Yeah, I've pretty much dealt with that, to be very transparent, since I started in business almost 7 years ago. I started out my formerly known as, like, you know, when Prince had this formerly known as, I used to be the biz techpreneur online. And I coined myself as a systems and email marketing strategist. Now, as far as me always attacking this stuff, people were like, yes, when you think about ConvertKit, you think about Kris. When you think about Basecamp, you think about Kris. And it got to a point where I felt like in this place and space that I'm going to outgrow this. And also it is not authentic, because I feel like I could do all that stuff and I have the background to prove all that. But, you know, when you're trying to build that presence, I have gotten to the point now when people think about text marketing or Superphone, the platform that I use, I want them to think about me. I want them to see something in their algorithm that, like, oh, you know what? That darn Kris, she popped up in my feed at the right time as I'm thinking about that. But it also comes from a confidence and a mindset thing too. And I think we don't talk about that as much when we're getting super specific with niching down, whatever, how you pronounce it. But when you come from that perspective, right, you really look at, like, do I want to be this ConvertKit queen? Am I confident enough to have those skills? If you two right now said, like, could you do email marketing stuff? Yes, I could. I'm certified in ConvertKit. That has not changed. I have not been totally, you know, pushing that to the back burner. Like, it will come soon, but I can still say, yeah, I can still give you strategy and all that, because I'm confident in my skills that are transferable, and I understand framework and strategy. And we got to get to a point, like I said, it comes from a confidence thing. I'm confident in regardless of whatever I do. It wasn't always the case, but you got to make sure that your brand is so recognizable that you're putting out and publishing content that makes you think of them. Like, it gets to the point now, people are so sick of me talking about text marketing, and I think it's hilarious because, like, now it's showing the power of that effect. But I really feel like, from a brand perspective, like, I have intentionally curated and thought about content, and that really came from me knowing who I was serving. You know, so it really we can go deep into that serving thing, because that's a whole different platter in itself. But being so known, like, you got to make sure as a brand you put your confidence behind it, your skill set, your knowledge, but you're listening to your community and you actually know what the heck that they want from you in the first place. That's how you can have a brand that is visible. And listen, this did not happen overnight for me. This did not. People knew the glasses, but I guarantee you some people are like, I don't even know what she does. I don't. Like, I don't even know. She got pretty images. It seems great. But I think also at that time, I wasn't as confident as serving people as I am now, because I feel like I'm walking in authenticity. And now I can do that. I'm able to have a recognizable brand and be able to say, okay, the Black Techie being a brand under my company, you're going to remember me for text marketing because I'm giving you quality content. I'm not just publishing for just the hell of it. I'm publishing because I want to have impact and create value.
There was so many trigger words in that.
Yeah.
I got Tariq. You still. I'm still mulling over it because she was talking about serving. Now we're talking about everybody's prospect. Now we're talking about the concept of it's so much. Tariq, but continue, bro. I'm mulling it. I'm thinking about it over here. The juices are flowing.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you or talk to you about was your relationship with the NFL. And if I'm not mistaken, it's not so much the NFL as a body, it's the players, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that journey. Tell us about how you got involved with NFL players and how you were able to help them with what they do in terms of communicating with their fans.
Yeah, so this kind of started probably over a year ago. This goes back to the point of authenticity. Originally, I've been helping service providers kind of do this skill set and showing them how to build their community primarily through text marketing. What a lot of people don't know about me, fun fact, I am actually here in Atlanta, I'm from Baltimore originally, so I am a local fan club leader. I'm a co-leader of our fan club called Ravens Nation South. From that, for the last few years, we've had a great relationship with the Baltimore Ravens. And this was separate before I even decided to emerge into this. And the thing about it is that when you have a framework and you know your audience, you know how to transfer those skills into another niche and industry. So what I decided, I was tired of like kind of hiding behind stuff. And I say that as far as authenticity, because I am a sports fanatic. There is anybody who knows me personally, like I'm watching some sort of sport, regardless of the season. And God rest my dad's soul, it started with him. I went to my first basketball game in 2 weeks. He was a coach. My mother said, why does she need to be there? She's not going to see nothing. And he told her, like, she just needs to be in the environment. Same with football 6 months later. And I attribute a lot of my sports things to him. But the transition had come from a while just because of networking and contacts. And I literally was telling my business coach, I was like, I can transfer this to NFL players. I am an NFL fan. I know what I would want from my player. I have a relationship with a sports franchise. I know how we engage, and I pay attention to study everything that they do with us. And I've been doing that. We've been working together, like I said, myself and our team for Ravens Nation South with the Ravens for going on almost 5, maybe 6 years now, I want to say, if that's correct. So I've been studying what they've been doing with displaced fans. And I'm like, can I transfer this? I can transfer this. So how did it start now? Networking has been, it's been definitely a unique approach, because I saw a blue ocean a year and a half ago, and I was like, nobody is doing this. There is not nobody talking about text marketing from a NFL athlete perspective. And going back to your point, Tariq, it's not really about the NFL, it's about the athlete and then building a personal brand. Too many of them are focused on their skills on the field. Life happens. How are you going to build your brand off of the field? How are you going to make sure during the off season you're communicating and engaging with your fans? Like the latest client that I'm looking to manifest, because I have to speak this one into existence, is Cam Newton. I was sitting up here watching his whole process. And when he got cut, unfortunately, from the Panthers, and he started doing YouTube content, I had a whole plan and strategy in my head for him. I wrote it down. I took a whiteboard, and I was like, he's getting ready to make this announcement when he signs. This needs to be a whole text marketing campaign and rollout. What happened a few weeks later? He signed with the Patriots. He created a video, and I was like, that's great. He did that. But I felt like his fans missed out, because instead of leveraging social media, he relied on it. And I think that's the problem that a lot of NFL athletes have. And the good thing about realizing that this could be a great opportunity now is that nobody's doing it. Nobody is talking to these athletes. And I'm not trying to, if they're NBA players watching, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I just have a different relationship based on what I've done with the Ravens. And yeah, and for me, it's just like, your fans, you know, are just as important as your family, to be very transparent. You don't necessarily owe us anything. You might have other commitments in regards to your family, but when you think about the support, your family is going to give you that, but so will your fan base. And we're so focused on, you know, going back to the technology part, we don't, you know, unless you got stock in Facebook, that's great. That's an asset. Good for you. But you don't own the company. Mark Zuckerberg does. You can't control all of the data. When you have text marketing and a platform and assets you can control, you own all of that free and clear. You own all of your text marketing contacts. You own all of your community contacts. And so for me, I saw that shift a year and a half ago. And like a good friend of mine, Rochelle, and I have to plug her because I literally told her and a friend of mine, Dr. Key Hallman from the Village Market, I was like, I'm working through some stuff. And I was like, some stuff is just not making sense. And I feel this disconnect. And it was just pulling me. And I'm like, oh, I know I could be doing this, but no, service providers love me and they love what I'm. And I'm like, this is so inauthentic. Like, Kris, this is not you. You can do this for athletes. And I had a meeting with somebody today who is, you know, at a SEC school. And basically she is looking to get into a space and place where she's an up and coming wardrobe stylist. Her name is Dia Wainwright. And we're talking about her strategy and brand. And I'm telling her about SEC players and people that are, you know, get ready to become athletes. And I'm sitting up here like, that's a gold mine. Like, but nobody is having these conversations about, here's what you need to be doing before you get drafted. You need to start building your personal brand. Like, you're going to leave school soon. You're getting ready to start preparing for the draft. We already know, based on what's going on in the world, the seasons for college football is going to be short. So why not start preparing for that now? But it's unfortunate that for NFL players, the rookies can get a hold of this and gravitate to this now, because I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound very outright. Text marketing is going to be ruling the world in the next 2 to 3 years. I'm going to say it, because people are tired of inbox email spamming. People are going to get tired of social media. There's so many, you know, different films and, you know, great literature that you can read about social media consumption. People are going to get tired of that, especially because they don't own it. This is an ownership thing. You own any contact that comes through your platform. Why wouldn't athletes not want to jump on that? Why would they not want to swim in that blue ocean? And it came to me in that capacity. And I said, you know what? This year, I made this declaration coming into like January, and I'm a Capricorn, so my birthday's at the top of the year. And I'm like, Kris, you're going to do this. We're gonna blow this lane and bust it wide open. And like, you're going to start having people by the end of this year wanting to beat down your door. I have case study ideas. Like, literally, there should be no reason why I created that whole strategy for Cam Newton just seeing a clip of his video. Why? Because I understand framework and I understand what he's trying to do. And I did that with certain athletes. And I'm like, there are certain ones that there are opportunities coming. So I can't like really speak on some things, but the ones that I'm also trying to attract, I'm like, dog, I'm just waiting for you. I'm waiting for you, the opportunity, because I see stuff that you're not seeing. And I think that just that journey alone, and just encouraging and informing them like about, like, you have personal digital asset and digital currency power. Nobody on your team is probably talking to you about that right now. They're talking to you about the brand deals. You know, you got this photo shoot. You might get your bag from the company. Good for you. But what about your assets? My guys, like, what are your digital currency? Like, email addresses and phone numbers, but I'll say phone numbers more, and we'll get into that, are currency. That is money that nobody can take away from you. That is always going to be a revolving door. You know how they talk about the Jewish community always revolving the door and they're spending money with one another? Think about your currency like that with these contacts in your phone. They will start sharing you with people in their communities, and the business will keep cycling. I mean, it's crazy. It's insane, but yeah.
So let's drill down on that a little bit, because I think, you know, I know for myself and some of our listeners, we really want to drill down on really when we talk about text marketing, what we're actually talking about. So in my head, you know, I'm like, okay, I have my phone. I'm an athlete, and I'm like, Tariq has his phone. He's a fan. So what is happening within or outside of that general, like maybe me texting him or him sending me a text, or how is that like different from your typical maybe social media inboxes or ads and things like that on social media? Like, what's happening kind of technologically, so we can kind of really kind of clear that marketing understanding?
Yeah, let's dig into that. So I'm going to compare this to like going down the field 99 yards for a touchdown. So stay with me on this analogy, okay? Think about anytime the quarterback has the ball. So the quarterback is actually the athlete, and the receivers and running backs and stuff like that, those are the fans. There's always going to be a part where the quarterback is going to need to talk to somebody, is going to need to communicate something, right? That is that one-to-one relationship with their audience. So if Tariq is the athlete and I'm the fan, he's sending me a text message. It makes me feel like he's just talking to me. It's a one-to-one conversation versus a one-to-many on social media. So the conversation could be, Tariq could be saying, hey, you know what, Kris? I hope that you're having an amazing day. Here's some behind the scenes stuff that I'm not sharing on social. And because I'm a fan, I'm gonna go look. It's nothing that he's sharing, but he's sharing it with me because I am in his inbox. So from the technological perspective, it basically is sending a text message to someone. They're sending it back. They can send you a video that's personalized. They can send you an audio recording that's personalized. Like, it doesn't have to be systematically like generalized. And I think that is the problem with social, because it feels like you can't really feel like you're the only person in the room. In text messaging, you can. In text messaging, you can, because I can feel like Tariq is making my day, because that's my favorite NFL player, and he texts me. He told me to have a good day, versus a post where 11,100 people are replying, but Tariq texts me personally on my number. That is a whole different experience. That is a whole different experience. So the magic happens based on the technological framework of, just using, the technology to do that. There are some text marketing platforms on the market. You can have them send updates, send broadcasts, one-on-one personalized messages. If it's your birthday, like Tariq could text me on my birthday, could say, hey, Kris, it's your birthday. Live it up, sis. Be blessed. Do you know what that would mean to a fan? Regardless if that was automated or not. Now, could they do that on social media? No, because there is no science, no technology, and engineering to achieve that. But in text marketing, it is, because you can have that possible in platforms. So it is definitely a one-to-one relationship, whereas one-to-one, it is just me and Tariq inside of our phones texting each other, where I don't have to feel like I'm one-to-many on his social media.
Wow. So then my last question before I turn it back over to Tariq, because this is very interesting. Like I said, we were talking before the show, and I'm like, this is something I've really never, understood. But I think about how many times, like, I've just sent a text with a flyer or something like, hey, fam, whatever, please, do X, Y, and Z for me, or just checking in on somebody. But how that simple one-on-one interaction, because a lot of times people underestimate the power of just texting or calling or just that one-to-one, because it's just like, oh, I just throwing a rock at out in at a board and seeing what sticks, right? So
Absolutely.
Hearing that there's a lot of power in that is cool. So my last question, I guess, is how are we then sorting these fan phone numbers? And are they how are they being acquired? And I guess I'm assuming there's some type of platform or engine that maybe draws them from somewhere, some way, or some platform.
Yeah. So the platform that I use, and I am a proponent of it for a few reasons, is Superphone. It was created by Ryan Leslie, former Grammy Award-winning producer, and his team. They're awesome people. I also am a huge proponent in supporting Black-owned technology companies, and I'm a big proponent on features. So going back to your point about how you acquire, so it's basically like they'll text in to a number. So they'll text into a number. So like they'll text into, I'm just going to make up a number like 410-350-2240, just being hypothetical, right? So they'll text into that number. They'll say, hey, Kris, and they'll get an automated message saying, hey, it's Kris. I don't recognize your number in my system. We can't have that. Fill out this form so I can add you to my phone book. And that is an automated message that comes out, and it's actually in real time. And say, for instance, 30 minutes goes by. Oh, hey, just popping back up in your inbox. I just want to make sure that you want to be added to my phone, so that you can keep up with me and find out what I have going on. Mind you, all automation and technology. Then when they capture and put their information, the form is kind of like, I will compare it to a micro landing page. You can put whatever pertinent information is on there, name, number, email address if they want to give you that, their birthday, other pertinent information you might want to know about them. Like depending on what form they're filling out for me, like if it's for my podcast, I'll be like, what platform do you listen? For my mobile community, I'm like, what do you want to learn from me in the next 30 days? And they got options. For the athlete one, I'm like, would you consider yourself an athlete and an entrepreneur, or you're just a straight up athlete? Or are you a sports manager or agent looking to utilize this for your athlete? Like you can make very clear distinctions. And I am a huge proponent of segmentation and tagging. And I don't think that we utilize this enough in technology. So I kind of classify it and coined it about this. And I, heard this from the great folks over at ConvertKit. They said this years ago. Segmentation organizes tags, segments organize tags, tags organize people. I can know where people are coming in from. So these forms, going back to your point, when they fill out a form, they're automatically segmented and tagged when they fill it out. And I know how they came in. So that's how you get their information. They have to legally, because of the Telecommunications Protection Act, which is real. Please Google it. The folks at Twilio have a whole list of stuff, because mobile marketing fines, like it ain't no joke. This is not no Joan the scammer type of stuff. Like you will get fined money if you just adding people to a database. That's like adding email addresses to a database. And with the EU with data protection, you don't want that smoke. You don't. So you want to make sure that people fill out a form for your text marketing platform so that you can get their information legally. And it also has stuff in fine print saying, hey, here's how you can opt out. I always go a step further when people fill out and provide me with their information and say, hey, just to let you know, you can opt out at any time. If you reply with the word stop or unsubscribe, that's how you opt out, because I want to make sure that everybody has options. I might not be enough for you today, Tariq, or maybe like years from now, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm good with her, but she's changed, I'm gonna opt out. You still need to have that option legally, and all that information is provided. So you get people's information by having them fill out a form with your said text marketing platform. And Superphone, they do this all the time. You get all that information, and from there, they're inside. They're segmented and tagged. You know where they came from. You know what they want to look forward to and learn from you. And that's how you get them in your system.
Wow. Family. I hope you're being well fed. We are learning a lot. If you have any questions about text marketing or just marketing in general and want to drop them in our comment section, please do. This is the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. I'm Jabrilliant Engineer, joined by my awesome partner in righteousness, not crime. We don't do crimes over here. Tariq. We are live on the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube, and follow us for more content and more shows in the future at the STEM Files on Instagram. Tariq, what's going on, bro?
Yeah. So at this time, we usually like to highlight a Black-owned business or any of their projects that they're working on. So for those who are not aware, the STEM Files is a product of our parent company, Original Man Scientific. We have an upcoming workshop coming up for 9 weeks for young people ages 8 to 18. It's our Invention and Innovations online workshop. So for 9 weeks, every Saturday, from September 19th to November 14th, young people between those ages, we get to learn different aspects about invention, like patent law, prototyping, manufacturing, getting your product on the market, royalties, licensing, different things like that. So we take them through the entire invention process and then some. So definitely check us out at oldmanside.com. Once again, that's oldmanside.com/oldmansevents to register. So definitely check us out.
Sir. Oh man. So as we continue, I'm just, my mind is going so many different places because it's such an innovative thought process, really, in the sense that like I feel like you can have, everybody wants to feel like they're the only one, right? So when you're on social media, and yes, it's cool to like follow someone and like see all their engagement, but like if like Instagram was where it was made to where so you could have like a post or something, you respond to the post, and now that person somehow feeds into another thing and they were talking back and forth to you, that would make you feel so much more special. So I guess in terms of text marketing and utilizing it not only as an athlete but as a general entrepreneur or as a a young startup, would the same rules apply, or how does that framework maybe kind of shift, and what are some examples of that shift from a startup perspective?
Yeah, so they would shift a little bit. The framework would shift a little bit. The strategy would shift a little bit. I can speak to this definitely because for service providers, and even for product people, the basics of the framework is really coming in and looking at how are you serving your community? What is the
Okay.
best capacity that you're doing so? Do you feel like your email list has been great for you as far as conversions? And like anybody that knows me, like I'm never going to like just throw away my list. Like it's always a backup because technology is not meant to be perfect. Sometimes things happen and like maybe I can't get a text out or something like that, but I can follow them up with email. But for general, entrepreneurs and, people who might be in the startup phase, you want to really focus on ways to serve your community differently. Everybody, I feel like, and this is no shade, I feel like we're all doing the same thing, except for me. But I feel like everybody is doing the same thing. Sign up for this list, attend this class, follow this story. And I'm like, there is no originality, no uniqueness. And I feel like that a lot of your community are waiting for you to serve them in a different capacity, but you choose to go down a different road instead of the yellow road. And it makes it harder to create this framework. So the strategy and the approach that you would pretty much use is that I want to serve my community in a different capacity. Okay, fine. What are you going to teach them? If you are just saying, for example, I'm a social media coach. I want to teach women-led owned businesses or startups how to use Instagram better. Great. That's awesome. How are you going to give them that exclusivity behind the scenes? What are you going to share with them? Are you going to get their feedback on stuff? Are you going to actually really engage with them? I take an hour out of my day each day and I send random messages to random people on my list. Why? I'm really focused on learning about the people that I'm serving and I'm trying to serve them in a different capacity. But the strategy and framework is basically you determine how you're going to serve, what you're going to educate them on, how often you're going to do so. Like you gotta really plan this out. Like it can't just be, I'm a fly off the seat of my pants and just start doing like, no, you need a strategy, sweetheart. Sir, you need a strategy. And you got to make sure that you understand what is your premier goal. Is your premier goal to serve to a capacity where it impacts somebody, where somebody takes that first step to do XYZ in the business? Great. If it's to serve where you get them to book out your calendar, great. If it's to, partner with somebody and you all want to do a collaboration and you want to just share this with the community, awesome. But you got to have a strategy and framework. Who am I going to be serving? How often am I going to be serving them? Is text marketing the medium for them? Because that's a real conversation that you need to have. And what do I need to do to implement this within the nenext 30 days?
You got that, Tariq?
Yeah. You mentioned man, because we as Original Man Scientific, well, our parent company, Original Man Scientific, there are a few things that we would like to make stronger about our company in terms of how we communicate with the community. So one of the things that you mentioned was being able to leverage your social media versus just relying on it. So can you kind of explain the difference between the two and why leveraging is a little bit more, it's not a little bit more, but a lot more advantageous than just relying on it?
Yeah. So Ryan Leslie actually made that statement probably like a year ago. I watched it on a video before I really got into the Superphone platform. And I was like, gosh, that's genius when he says that. And it made me think, but I want to focus on leveraging because I want to be able to own digital assets. I want to be able to have true ownership. So leveraging, we leverage social by pushing people to platforms. So anytime I'm talking to somebody, I'm presenting content, I am pushing people to my mobile list because I want your phone number. I want to talk to you. I want to extend this journey that we're on. I don't want it to be a one-stop shop where you just see a post, you see an IGTV episode, you see an Instagram story, because then you're going to be gone and just on to the next person. And even if you weren't meant to be one of my people, I would still want to be connected with you to connect you to people I know that could be your people. So for me, leveraging is just like, yeah, I'm going to post some on IGTV. I'm going to post some on Instagram stories. I'm going to post, but I'm going to still tell you to go somewhere. There's always going to be a call to action for me that I'm sending you to a place, which is 9 times out of 10, my mobile list. Now, relying on social means that, prime example of what happened today, Instagram went down. everybody was looking like they had lost their ever loving mind. And people were just like freaking out on Twitter. And I'm very active on Twitter. So I was laughing at a lot of this. And I'm like, it wouldn't be this way if you didn't rely on it and leveraged it. Like you could have sent an email, or in this case, a text message out to your community, say, hey, no, Instagram is down right now. How is this helping you in your business? Or, hey, I know IG is down. I know I was supposed to go live. Guess what? I'm going to do a pop-up in my Facebook group. Here you go. Or you know what? Let's just jump on a Zoom call. Let's talk about this because I think this is an amazing case study. And sis, bro, I don't want this to happen to you. When you rely on stuff, you give power and autonomy to the company and platform you're relying on. So anytime that Instagram is down, you're relying on Mark Zuckerberg and his team to get it back up.
Right.
Instead of leveraging it and saying, you know what, it's down, I can still shoot a text message. My messages were jumping today because I had people in my community like, I'm glad you told me about this. I was like, yeah, because clearly like it's down and it will happen when you don't own, regardless if you have stocks. Yes, you have a stake in the company, but you don't own it.
Right. And I thought that was just me today. I was like,
no, I was laughing.
I thought I was tripping.
I was trying to make a post for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So now on a platform that it does not belong, we as the Sim Files exist on platforms that are not our own, right? We utilize Facebook, Instagram, people, whether it's StreamYard, Zoom, all these different platforms that like, you don't necessarily own. So like when something is acting wonky, now you're at the mercy of, like you were saying, that tech team being able to boot that back up. But so what I'm hearing from you is kind of creating a tribe, if you will.
Yes.
And having that one-to-one connection to where as though when you're communicating regardless of what's happening on the outside world, and you can even leverage things that happen in the outside world to build further inside of that those connections you made. That's amazing.
I'm here for
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just saying I'm here for community stuff, and I was laughing literally early when all this stuff happened, and just something that I do that I'll give this nugget away because I love giving away stuff. When you all think about live stream show podcasts, I use text messaging for podcast alerts, YouTube alerts. Anytime I drop a new episode, my list knows. So they don't have to worry about if there's confusion. Guess what? That same form and segmentation and tag, it's the exact same process. I have a dope framework, but you all could even do that with the STEM files. Just because, like you said, it was down earlier. You know what? Shoot a text to the crew. Hey, we're going live. Here's the link. Boom, we're done. They still get notified.
Absolutely. Speaking on the community, we have one of our people in the comments, Daniel. He's asking, are you familiar with ManyChat? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, ManyChat is more so like kind of like it's a partial hybrid SMS / like messenger bot. I am familiar with it in regards to text messaging and stuff like that. Based on platforms like Superphone, it's not going to give you the extent of what it is that you're looking for. But I am familiar with it. It can do some great things. But I'm always a risk taker. I'm not going to just go into a situation and be like, I'm going to try this and blah, blah. Like, I'm going to shoot my shot. So I'm going to be like, if I'm going in on text marketing, I'm going in. But yeah, I am familiar with ManyChat. It's not a bad platform. I feel like that there are significant technical limitations, but it could be good if you're starting out, if you're playing around, with stuff like that. It could be good, but I'm always going to recommend Superphone first. That's just me.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I hope that answers your question, Brother Daniel, as we're continuing. Going back to when we first started, I think I'm really getting an understanding of this thought leader term. As the more you're talking and everything, I'm really understanding how, it's so easy to think that what's popular is the only way. And I liken that to like when we say, okay, growing up, and I would sit on different panels and everything as a young professional engineer and everything for high school students, different things. And one of the things we would talk about is college. And why college? Because a lot of times as a young person, the thought process is, okay, I'm going to grow up, hopefully be in a good home, wholesome home, go to school, get good grades. I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to get a piece of paper that says, hey, I qualify for this type of job. Pay me a certain amount per year so I can live a decent life, right? Okay. Yeah. So what I would talk to a lot, which is some people don't want to hear, is college is not for everyone. When I say that, what do we mean? It's like I don't say to you that you're not capable of doing well in college. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not necessarily for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I encourage trades. I talk to people about how many 1099s are being signed, businesses, being an entrepreneur, and really understanding for yourself when you say I want to be happy, what does that mean to you? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And some people like, oh, okay, when you say you want to be successful, okay, is it I want to have a lot of money? You can do a lot of things and make money. You know what I'm saying? Do I want to be comfortable? Do I want my family to be safe and secure and have 3 square meals a day? So when you're going back and talking to being off the norm, just because it's popular, just because everyone does it, doesn't mean it's the only way. And you could do something as you're doing to bring in a new paradigm and have people jump on that and be successful too. So thank you again, sis, for being with us. Tariq.
I'm just enjoying the information. Like Jabril said, we definitely want to thank you for joining us tonight. We've learned so much, and we've only did about a little over 45 minutes. So we definitely appreciate your time. At towards the end of the show, we like to do something called the STEM File Speed Round. Yes. And it's pretty much a series of random questions to get to know our guests a little bit more outside of what they normally do. So you ready for it?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Awesome. All right. So let's get it. So we have, all right. So what's the first thing you do or think of when you wake up?
ESPN.
Okay. Absolutely. That's okay. All right. Hot or cold?
Cold.
Okay. Walking or jogging?
Walking. I'm definitely not jogging nowhere in the right now.
All right. Which would you rather do? Text or call someone?
Well,
that's kind of like a obvious answer.
I know. I'm definitely going to text. Unless it's my mother, I'm going to call her. But more than likely, I'll probably be texting somebody.
Okay. Cool. So what's your favorite pair of shoes of all time?
Oh God. I would say there's some Baltimore Nike Air Force Ones. They came out in I'm about to date myself.
Wow. That's not that I was expecting.
Yeah, no, because it was authentic, and it was a lot of people don't know the history of Nike in Baltimore. If you go get a chance, read the article, because we help promote Air Force Ones. A lot of people don't know that. This was in the late 80s, early 90s, but it would have to be those.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Some good taste you got there. All right, so now be careful how you answer this question. Now, being as that you are a text marketing expert, please tell me that most of your texts are with Android.
No. Most of the iPhone people. That's an Apple thing, baby. I've been judging people. I've been sitting up here looking at the green bubble what is this? I be looking what is this? What is this? And I crack on people all the time about that. Most of my friends do have iPhones and family members. So it's always that blue-gray bubble, baby.
Man, one can only hope. See, I'm an Android guy. Jabril's like a Apple guy, so it's like y'all are special type of people. Would say that.
Just come on, light. We're here for you. We're open arms.
Never. It'll never happen. I've been persuaded quite a few times, but I stood my ground, and I'm gonna stay on the right side.
But I like people that stand for what they believe in, so I'm cool with that. You got my respect.
I appreciate that. Awesome. All right. What's your favorite thing to cook?
I would probably say, since I'm from Baltimore, it would probably be something seafood related.
That's great. That's the same thing Alaska said.
Right. Because I during Christmas, my family does a seafood buffet at my mother's house. I would like to say my great aunt, who's in her 80s, my Aunt Sally, it would probably be crab balls, or my Uncle Bush that cooks fish. It would have to be one of those. That'd probably be my favorite thing to cook. It had to be something seafood, but I'll go with fish or I'll go with crab.
Wow, that's crazy. we just started doing the speed round last episode, and that's the same thing our last guest said. They could craft.
I mean, it's an easy thing. I mean, when you're from there, I mean, in all transparency, like it's something like riding a bike. So that's a rites of passage in a sense for us.
Got you. Okay. What's your favorite song of all time?
It would be oh God, I'm gonna date myself. It would be "Hooked on Your Love," the original Sparkle soundtrack that Aretha Franklin and Curtis Mayfield did. Because it's a tie between that and Earth, Wind and Fire. It will be, I will say, Shining Star. I'm a big musical person. My dad was a DJ, but I had friends that were in the band, so I'm a music person. I love harmony.
Yeah, same here.
I love like full on bands. Like when they were here, when WF was here, like I just like was in my element, and I feel like I was one of the youngest people at the shows getting my best life. But it would have to be a tie between those two for sure. Because you gotta listen to that original Sparkle. I'm talking about the one with Irene Carrera. You gotta listen to that soundtrack because Curtis Mayfield put his foot on all that. He did.
Got you.
I got one, Tariq.
Okay.
One. All right. So please be careful how you answer this. You ready?
Okay.
All right. LeBron or Kawhi?
I'm going with Bron.
All right.
Capricorn.
You just saying all the wrong answers tonight.
I'm gonna say this why as a basketball person. I'm looking at him as the athlete, and I'm looking at him as the business mogul too. But from an athletic perspective, like longevity, that guy has gone into different franchises. And I'm a Miami Heat fan, by the way. So like when he was with us, like I was hyped. So I'm gonna give it to LeBron. Ain't nothing wrong with Kawhi. Like I'm not gonna say just anything to his play, but LeBron, man, like that guy, he's special. He's something special, just on and off the court.
And y'all killing it too this year. Y'all killing Jimmy.
Man, listen, I'm so hyped to like when we get off. I've been playoff mode. I'm ready for playoff Jimmy. I'm ready.
Yes, man. That's my little side note. Sheree, I had to throw that.
You good. That's the only reason I rock with LeBron in any kind of ways because of what he's been able to do in his business and in the community, working with the youth,
the kids.
Other than that, y'all can have LeBron. He all right. But yeah. All right. So what's the worst job you've ever had?
I was a patient aide at a hospital called Kennedy Krieger in Baltimore. It actually was like a hospital that dealt with special needs people. It was a very stressful job. And like, I think I was there like 3 days, and my mother knew somebody that hired me to get the job. So about relationship. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I ain't going in no more. So I'm gonna just turn in my notice.
Wow. I can feel you on that. I work at a rehabilitation center, and I work with a lot of elderly who are dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's. And that is any kind of disability is rough.
Yeah. I'm emotionally drained. I'm a empathic person. So that's too much for me. Like that will drain me just from the thought of even like having that type of opportunity or just I was like, yeah, day 3, I was like, nope, turn in this letter. I told my mother, so cool and calm. She thought I was crazy. I was like, yep, no, no, ma'am.
Yeah. You got to have a special type of skin and mindset to deal with some of the things that you see in those types of places. So I can definitely understand.
Absolutely.
Definitely understand that. Jabril, I don't think I've asked you this, but what's the worst job you've ever had?
The worst job I ever had. Oh man.
Oh, this about to be deep because he took a long, slow pause with this. No, he was like, "Oh man."
I would say, this is a weird answer. I would say not having a job was the worst job I ever had. To be unemployed is a job in of itself. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like a long span of time, but I think most things that I've done where I've actually worked for pay, I've legit enjoyed them. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I was like, oh my God, I can't like finish this job. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do like the fast food, summer. I didn't really work in high school and stuff like that too. So, I haven't really had too many like bad like job experiences, I would say.
Approach.
Man, that sounds like heaven. Yeah. Man, I don't See, this is what I love about Jabril. He's like a unicorn, and I know they've never existed, but this guy's like he can fit in, but he has things about him that most people have never, really experienced. Like I've always known people that have some type of job when they were teenagers or stuff like that, but for him to say that, like, damn, that sounds like, awesome. to
I
be.
come from a household that said, going to school is your job. That's just how my household was.
Hey,
that's how
so I work by choice. So I understand. I get you, Jabril. I do.
Awesome. All right. So if you were stuck on an island for a year, what would, and you can only listen to like 3 albums, what would they be?
Mary J. My Life.
Okay.
It would definitely be Kirk Franklin's first album, because I would need something to balance me spiritually. And then I would say Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Queen. Love Queen. Like I would definitely listen. That would be enough for me, because Mary's gonna give me like the real life. Kirk is gonna give me spiritual balance, and then Queen is just gonna let me be whoever I feel like I want to be that day. So I feel like honestly those 3 could work for me. Like any album by Queen, for real, like that could work. But definitely that My Life album, yes. Kirk Franklin's first album, yes. Like Kirk Franklin and Family, like that'll give me the balance I need, and I feel like I can put those on repeat and not like skip a beat or skip a song.
Gotcha. You can tell a lot about what's in a person's head by the type of music they listen to. So
yeah, I listen to a lot that people wouldn't realize that I listen to. Of course, I being from Baltimore, like the club scene is big, and I had a cousin who was a DJ. Rest in peace to DJ Kris Smith. So I understand like a lot of house music, but then just the spiritual background and stuff like that. I need gospel to kind of like level me out. And then just with Queen, like all the alternative stuff, and Aerosmith, like that. I feel like those are just like creative pieces that just allow you to explore creativity. Like it doesn't hinder you. It's just creative, and it allows you to really dream. Like Dream On, I thought that was the hardest song for the longest time. But Don't Stop Believing, I was like, gosh, this is great. So like I think that it could be any facets of those. But I agree with you about music. I do. I can name a whole lot of stuff, but if I had to have those 3, I think I would be fine. Like I feel like I wouldn't. There's a lot of music, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that will get me through the island that year, because then I probably would start singing other stuff, to be quite honest, and be like, okay, this is gonna be a cappella. Cool, fine.
Got you. Okay, that's what's up. If you could meet any scientist or engineer or someone in tech from the past, who would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be related to your field.
Okay. That changes that then. Okay. And you said anybody?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's probably gonna seem very fair. I would want to meet Charles Drew.
Wow. Okay.
And the reason why I want to understand him from a life's work perspective.
Yeah.
What he really thought about, because I think he knew the legacy he was leaving, but I don't think that it was appreciated until he was gone. So I would really talk to him from a purposeful soul, like life perspective. Like when you decided to start doing research and, do all this stuff, what made you really say like, I'm sticking to my purpose and like, it's not negotiable? And what made you really think about making sure things that you've done were documented and that it could be a legacy left behind? So that would probably be the person. And I know a lot of people wouldn't expect that, because they probably thought I was going to say Steve Jobs. No disrespect to Steve, but I would really say Charles Drew, because I felt like based on his legacy and his life purpose, he was really focused on his mission. And I would want to have, like, I'm in this season of my life where I'm focused on purposeful and legacy and mission type of stuff. So I would want to talk to somebody who's already walked that walk, that can transition me into this next season. Like I'm 2 years from 40. So that's where my mentality is right now. So I definitely would like to talk to Charles Drew.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. He was doing a lot of groundbreaking work in a time where a lot of medical treatments weren't available to everybody. That in itself, overcoming something like that. Yeah, that and most of the scientists that I look up to from the past are around that time as well. So, you know, being able to be Black scientists doing amazing work in times of extreme difficulty. You know, we have our difficulties today, but being able to having to invent or innovate something that you may not even see your people benefit from because of the time period we're living in, that's incredible. You know, but to keep going from that is an amazing thing to study. Absolutely. All right, so this is we got two more.
Okay.
If you weren't a text marketing expert, what would you be? Or who would you be?
I would be an NFL scout or athletic scout, period.
Okay.
I would.
So you would still remain in dealing with, you know, communicating with NFL stars in some way.
Yeah. I feel like, I feel like I would be more geared to the NFL. And I think that like now in the time, like it's so many Black women and even other women of different minorities that are becoming scouts now and coaches like in the NFL. I'm like, the door is open for this next generation coming. Like you can literally be whatever you want to be, but I probably would be like an NFL scout. I could see that.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Great. All right, so this is the last and final question before we close out. My name is Kris Smith, and I am.
My name is Kris Smith, and I am going from passion to purpose.
I like that.
I'm on a mission right now where I feel like I was passionate about a lot of stuff, but I am on a new journey of being more authentic about my purpose.
Gotcha. Well, once again, Kris, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's episode of STEM Files. We have been thoroughly educated, and we will definitely be reaching out to you in the future to work on a few things together, as well as just helping each other grow in what we're doing respectively. Our next guest on the STEM Files is Tahira Austin Muhammad. She is a clinical research coordinator in sickle cell disease. So for those that don't know, it is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So she'll be joining us this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, same place, same time.
Big sis.
Philly. If you want to know more about the STEM Files, just go ahead and visit us on our platforms. The STEM Files on YouTube and Facebook and on Instagram at the STEM Files. I'm your host, Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac, Jabrilian engineer. We are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture, Thursdays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And if you want to contribute to the STEM Files, go ahead and drop some change or some cheddar right there in the Cash App at the STEM Files. Or if you just want to share our content, feel free to share, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we look forward to having you on our next episode. Jabril, anything you want to add?
Yes, sir. Family. Thank you again for coming and tuning in. This has been an awesome show. I know I learned so much. The energy again from the glasses alone, sis, was enough to carry the whole hour. Quick shout out to Appavelli, our bro Dominique. Looking forward to well, first of all, thank you for watching the episode. Looking forward to our conversation with you tomorrow, kind of moving forward on some company things. Family. We have Kris Smith's information. You want to let us know how to get in touch with you in terms of moving forward? We have your information as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm gonna tell y'all this now. This is about to be the craziest thing you probably hear me say. So yeah, I leverage social media. I don't rely on it, which means that I'm visible, but I'm not really visible. The best way to get in touch with me is to visit the link and text me. Text thebblacktechie.com. That is a one-on-one conversation. You can sign up for multitudes of content. My email is there. If it's something quick, I'm probably going to reply and say, yeah, just text me, because I'll probably respond quicker. But yeah, that's the way to connect with me. And like, thank you both again for the opportunity. This was great. I love being able to connect, empower, and pretty much help our people. So thank you once again for the opportunity.
Of course. Family, this has been the STEM Files again, the voice of STEM talent and Black culture, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Jabrilian engineer, Tariq Cardiac, and the Black Techie signing off. Until next time, peace, family.
Peace.